Okay, hi there. Thank you very much for watching. This is episode 2 of Sports Etc. Now, in episode 1, we basically recapped the 2018 sporting year, and today we're going to be going through some of the things that we expect from 2019, and we're ankle deep into the year, but there have already been some very contentious issues, most of which centers around Emiliano Sala and the whole plane crash and the responsibility, who it falls on, etc. And we're going to be delving into a little bit of that and some of what we expect throughout the year as well. My name is Mawande, if you haven't already met me, if you don't know me or whatever. And today I am joined by Sechaba and Sam. Guys, want to introduce yourself? Say hi.
Yeah, how's it? Sam, sports anchor as well. This is Sechaba.
I am the cream de la cream.
Absolutely love that. Okay, so we're going to go straight into it, guys. The big story now, Emiliano Sala. The plane crashed. I think we all probably feared the worst 2 days after we heard that the plane was missing.
Yeah.
And now, it's a thing that I wondered in actual fact from back then, but I don't want to say it out loud at the time. You don't want to be the insensitive person who says it out loud, but what happens? Who needs to pay for it? Who's responsible for it? And now we've got this thing where Cardiff and his French club are in a little bit of a standoff about the transfer payment.
Yeah, so look, it's a lot of money, but I think word on the street is that, like you mentioned, there's a bit of a debate on what happens now with the payment for his transfer, because it was almost mid-transfer when the accident happened. So you got Nantes on one side who was saying we want our 15 million, and then you got Cardiff on the other side saying we didn't receive a football player, and then you got the family sort of stuck in the middle, pulling rope on either side, saying, well, can we mourn the death of our loved one first? So it's a little bit of a sticky situation to be caught up in, I think, for either one of the two clubs.
Yeah, I think I didn't know Salah before the accident.
I don't think many people did.
Yeah, but I went back and looked at his videos and all that. Bro, he was a good striker.
Yeah.
Trust me. I looked at the goals that he scored. He could take on the players and all that. So now it's kind of like a sad feeling. Like you think of the family, what they're going through with the stars. Maybe he was a breadwinner, who knows, at home.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of thinking about the family and all that, what they're going through. And
that's actually a very good point, because I think a lot of us, I know I have, I haven't thought completely about the family.
Yeah.
But it does strike me now, because they found a body in the wreckage and they identified it as Salah himself. It felt for me like he died twice.
Yeah.
Because I figured he died 2 weeks ago, and then now, okay, cool, it's confirmed he did die. I can't imagine what it's like for.
Another thing, just slightly off the two club topic, is it took a private investigator to find exactly what had gone on with all the wreckage and such. Why that had to get to that extent, I'm not 100% sure. That's a topic for other kind of pundits to deal with. But then again, talk on the town in terms of the two clubs is that you've got his English club, who are kind of apparently waiting for an insurance payout, because it'd be stupid not to take any insurance out on a player when you're buying him for 15 million. But apparently there's a whole thing of delaying the process there to get the money out of insurance before any sort of remuneration is paid back to Nantes, who in their own right have lost a player.
I was actually thinking that there's no fair way to deal with the situation, with the monetary situation here, because you can't tell Cardiff, okay, fine, no, you guys can only pay half of that, because okay, cool, neither of you got the player, so just pay half. Cardiff loses. They lost a player and they lost money. And to be fair, the other club sold the guy, and he wouldn't have been on, like you said, like earlier, he wouldn't have been on the plane if he wasn't going to Cardiff.
But then one of the things for me is, what situation would Nantes be in if he did pass away out of not having signed a contract, out of not having moved to England, if it was just another freak accident where he was on the way to wherever it might have been? What role or what cards would Nantes then have played? Would they have waited for an insurance payout? If things were the other way around, if they were signing a player, what would the situation there have been?
I think in this situation, you'd rather just have the shoes that you have on. You just take what the hand that you've been dealt, and then you just play it the best that you can. Because I think it's nobody ever wants, when it comes to money, to see the other person's side of it. And we aren't talking about 5 rand, 10 rand, 100 rand. This is millions and millions worth of pounds.
And my question would be, like, should Cardiff pay if they didn't get the services of the player?
Yes. He signed the contract. Fair's fair. To be very honest, fair's fair.
It does leave a bit of a moral question mark.
Yeah,
because
that's
as a club
exactly
owner, are you going to then force? Because I mean, yeah, sure, he might not have officially put on a Cardiff jersey, but to an extent, he was still part of the Cardiff family.
Yeah.
But also, he never left the Nantes family as well. So, as a club owner, do you think, okay, cool, let it be?
I actually read somewhere that he was the most loved Cardiff player that never played for the club.
Yeah.
That struck me some. Just something that you should look out for as well. I think that it's still going to be ongoing. If you think about the Brazilian air tragedy that took place a couple of years ago now, there are going to be people sued. There's going to be the air flight, the investigators. There's going to be a whole lot of baggage that comes through with all of this. And at the end of the day, one person is going to be the most responsible for the tragedy, and that person is going to be hung out to dry at some point.
On that note, I do have a bit of a grievance with Nantes, because I think it was about 36 hours after the plane went missing when the guys over the English Channel said it's not likely that we'll find him alive. The first thing that Nantes came out and said in one of their presses was that Emiliano Sala arranged his own transportation. Therefore distancing themselves from anything to do with that accident.
I think I understand.
Which troubles me some a little bit, because if that's the approach that you're going to take 36 hours after his disappearance, now all of a sudden, player's dead, now you want your money. It's a bit of touch and go for me. It's a bit of touch and go for me.
I think this is a story that we're going to come back to in future episodes as well, as it develops and we find out new facts and so on. Cool. Moving on very quickly, Proteas won the ODI and T20 series against Pakistan. Do we start getting excited now? There's a World Cup later to be played. What do you think our chances are?
I got excited until Faf du Plessis said that they lowered their expectations for the World Cup. That for me was just a bit of a. Are you setting us up for when we do fail? Because it hurts. It hurts at the skip of the side. Yes.
The ODI and the T20 did just pass now. I thought it was going to be a smooth sailor for them, but I think Pakistan surprised me. I think I underrated them. But I think going to the World Cup, they're going to do pretty much well. That's my feeling I get with the Proteas.
I'm actually pretty excited about this one for some reason, but not excited in the sense that I'm expecting a lot from the Proteas. I think without expectation, maybe that's the one thing that we haven't had going into World Cup is lots of expectation, and maybe that might do us a little bit of good this time around.
I think in that sense, in previous years, the Proteas have always been one of the top 3 teams picked to win the Cricket World Cup, and by a country mile at the moment, it's New Zealand and India who are looked at as the favourites for the tournament. But then you look at things like individual performances that we've had over the past years, Rassie van der Dussen and Reza Hendricks. All of a sudden, selectors now and Otis Gibson and Faf as well, their heads are going to start spinning. But if you're sitting at home watching from the couch, you're thinking, hold the phone, we've got a pretty decent top 4, top 5 to do something in the World Cup. And then you look at the likes of old man Dale Steyn coming back into the fray of things. You look at Lungi Ngidi, is going to be fine when he comes back from his injury. And then the likes of Chris Morris as well over the last T20. There's a lot of potential.
Slow your roll. Is Chris Morris going to make it to the plane to England?
I don't think so. I don't think he will.
Me too.
Along with Aiden Markram. So I was having a conversation of, do you pick experience over form? Rassie van der Dussen's in form. Aiden Markram's got experience because he captained the SA and 19th side of the World Cup as well.
I think with the form, sometimes the form gets under pressure when you get to the real situation. So experience kind of gives you an edge or something when you get to the World Cup and something. So I think pretty much the mix it would work wonders for the team. If you mix the
Aiden Markram in or out?
I think in.
It's a bit of an unpopular vote, but I've been sitting on the fence with this for a very long time, because you're going to throw Rassie van der Dussen in the deep end and you're going to do to him what we did to a Richard Levy, for example. Or you'll do to him what we did with an Albie Morkel, for example, as well, where you expect him to play this kind of role. The guy fails once or twice, all of a sudden he's being chased with burning tires.
For me, I promise you, you guys, I don't understand how people don't see Chris Morris. Like, he's a guy. He's not the most exceptional player in the world. But he's got something, and it's not the traditional X factor that we always expect. But he's a guy who can pull a victory from defeat.
So is Andile Petluguayo. And then you've got to pick between the two of them.
Yeah, one starts, one is on the bench. One is so you've got, I would have Petluguayo in my starting 11 as my number 7 or number 8, and then I'd have Chris Morris in.
Well, yes, if he's going to be part of the extended squad, then yes. Then you leave behind a guy like Dwayne Pretorius, who just hasn't pulled his weight as an all-rounder in the team. You leave behind a Vian Mulder, who's relatively new, but also had 1 or 2 injuries going into the back end of last season. So you can't really justify his selection in the team either. With also that being said, then you're also saying Reza Hendricks, Rassie van der Dussen, they go, and then you're leaving behind Aiden Markram as a top order batsman.
Yes, just like
Hashim Amla, you take him or you leaving him?
You have to take him. You have to take him. I think. Do you know what? It's a pretty bold call that somebody would make to axe Hashim Amla, because to be very honest, according to the stats, he is the best South African batsman there's ever been in one-day international cricket history. Facts. Better than AB, better than Jacques Callis, better than all of them.
Let me throw something at you, because we've had 1 or 2 conversations about this. The Proteas for a very long time have lacked a finisher. I don't want to call David Miller a finisher. David Miller's not really a finisher because he needs to play himself in before he has any sort of impact or influence on the game. He's get him into the 35th over, give him 15 overs to play out himself and get himself in. In that regard, do the Proteas need a finisher, or is a finisher of the game now overrated? Glenn Maxwell, who can come in and score 40 in 3 overs. Do we need one?
I don't think so.
Behardine still an option in that regard?
No. Behardine can't be in the 15 for the World Cup. I can't see a way that he goes at all. And the finisher role, I think, is overrated in some senses. But if you need that role to be played, there's guys like JP Duminy who I'm very confident can make it happen. And if you need some lusty blows at the back end of an innings, Andile Petluguayo is going to come off good maybe 6 or 7 times out of 10.
Yeah.
And I'd be more than happy to take somebody like him. But I don't think we can take somebody like Fahad Bahardine just solely for the purpose of filling one particular spot when he's not going to have to do it for most of the games. You can't take a passenger for one instance of maybe and hope.
Yeah, fair enough.